Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you an interesting match here for sure, because we've got This Is Jimmy, the red Terran in the bottom left of Macroglia, a BDB map that I have not shown off on the channel yet. I might even be saying it wrong. It might be Macroglia. And we have jakulangski in the top right. He's rocking and rolling as none other than the Askosi. In the top right. I don't know why. I don't know why he randomly said nerf toss there, but that's all right. He is, let's see. I actually don't know this color. Midnight green? Royal blue. I did think about royal blue, but it's a little... I haven't adjusted to guessing colors on the Askosi, I will admit. So I hope you guys are excited about this matchup, because normally I would just say, yeah, Jack just runs circles around Jimmy all the time, but I haven't seen his Askosi. I have no idea, and Jimmy has been playing lately. He's been trying to improve and stuff. He did say that the Askosi have units that outrange the Phalanx, which is obviously not true. There's not a single unit that shoots even remotely close to it. You can know my strat based on the color or name. No. Honestly, I do try to read chat messages, even if I don't say them out loud when it comes to the game chat. I'm just like in the middle of talking about something else or whatever, and a chat message pops up. I usually read it. I just don't bother saying it. There are some times where I'm just in the middle of something real big and they're typing a lot, and in that case, I just tune out. But if it's like one isolated random message or whatever, I don't typically mind too much. But I say all of that to say that I have a hard time reading jakulangski's messages. He very regularly typos many things. And sometimes I think it's deliberate, and other times I'm not sure, and it's just it is just a mess. So, just wanted to say that. I have no idea what he was even trying to say there, to be honest. So, with that being said, he is going double radix, radix function radix, and he's adding a second function after that, and he is team building with it. He cut some workers in the process, so his pilgrim count isn't as high as it could be. But Jimmy, for one reason or another, also doesn't have as many workers as he should. So it kind of looks like, damn, the Askosi's got like 4 production structures, and Jimmy's only got 1, and he's making a second one, and Askosi's still making the 4th one, so whatever. But yeah, there were some cuts to make that happen. Jimmy's cuts, I don't think, were intentional. So, with regards to the Cyclops and Goliath moving across, yeah, the Rove ain't going to have much of a chance there. But at least it'll do some friendly splash damage. Got a couple of missionaries, we got a cardinal, we got a rove. Talk about those units as they get a little bit closer in. Hey, temples! So you can return to these. These are neutral town centers that also provide a power field. That's the difference between them and like a treasury or a ministry or whatever. So the cardinal, when it attacks, will heal allied units. And the missionary, when it takes damage, will heal itself. Same for the rove, for a small amount. But you can see the cardinals will keep getting a little bit of extra health. And you can tell that it takes a little bit more concentrated fire to put them down. Cyclops are not going to be able to do it themselves. And the Rove can also like jump to an ally to initiate its heal again. So there's a couple of things that you can do that are micro-intensive for ways to heal. Meanwhile, we got an object, we got another Rove. So yeah, clearly Jack is planning on an expansion. Got the ministry coming up as well. I like that you're expanding onto the faces, by the way. I will point out that they're off the tile grid. Tisk tisk. And I will also point out that this ramp is an abomination of BDB tiles. And we have some really weird looking tiles in general. So I don't know what quite is going on there, but that's okay. Those can be fixed. Maps are easy to fix. What is happening over here? No. No. Bad. Bad. No. Green Eggs in the chat, since I'm streaming all of these games, asks if rows are a type of beast. They are in Askosi. So that's why they have like unit responses and stuff. But they are some weird cross between a vehicle and not a vehicle. You would probably look at them and think they're a manned craft, like, you know, a manned vehicle. And sort of, like a helmed vehicle of sorts. This is a little bit painful for Jack that his object did not move across the map at the same pace as everybody else, but rather he didn't wait for it. So the army got cleaned up by the Cyclops splash, and the object wasn't there to try to sustain some of it. There's a reason why when you select the Rove, something that it says is "our limbs for yours." Yeah. Ain't that pretty metal or what? Cypher coming up here for the tech for Jack. So the Cypher enables mimics from functions, or sorry, mimics from radixes, and the scepters from the function. It also allows you to build the Cosmoscope, which is your air production, and unlocks the ink blot at it. So we'll see how much of that Jack ends up leveraging. He must have made it for a reason. That reason might have been because I don't remember what it made. You know, that's a simple enough reason. Yeah, this is a little bit too much firepower for Jack to handle in a frontal fight. You can see he had a really good flank there, the Cardinal healing as much as it could, taking a lot of firepower to bring down. And when you're healing over everything and the Cyclops are still firing, you are getting sustained fire that is providing you with a lot of, like, you're forcing the enemy to do a lot of friendly splash damage. And unfortunately for that that poor Goliath there, he did not target down the Cardinal, so there was no fight there, that's for sure. Scepter is out, so that's the first indication. We don't have any Mimics. Mimics are pretty good units because they consume corpses that they walk over and use for healing. And when an ally near them shoots, they clone the attack for full damage. So, you know, you use them with Vicars or use them with Scepters, or you know, they will do the same thing with like a melee attack or whatever as well. Although there's no like visual read for it exactly besides the overlay that always plays when the Mimic clones an attack. More production structures, nothing for the air just yet, just more functions and another radix. Good number of Cyclops here. I don't think that Jimmy's in any danger of losing to what Jack has being sent across the map, but it's pretty nifty nonetheless. And maybe he'll set up like an anchor or something for a more ironclad defense. I think Askosi has the hardest time playing versus Terran, as far as people have told me right now. Like, Protoss have ways to deal with them, but it usually involves like a bit of a turtley tech rush style. According to... It is all hearsay. I haven't seen this in action just yet. And it seems like Terran would have the easiest tools, because Askosi are supposed to win by outmaneuvering their opponent, and then instead of army crunching the way Zerg does, or even Protoss sometimes does versus Terran, Askosi are kind of meant to like target the infrastructure, target the workers, target the you know, things like sieves and add-ons and whatever else you might need. That's what the Askosi are all about with their raids and their, you know, abilities and whatnot. Not really something that we see happen here just yet for jakulangski. One thing I'm strongly considering is allowing the pilgrims and the proselytes to place like a ward similar to the vulture mine that is invisible, you know, arms itself and all that. But instead of trapping going on, oh, this is a really bad fight for Jack. He does not have enough units over here. He has no splash damage with this army. Now, he is, when the Scepters kill something, they are converting its corpse into resources for Jack, but that was not very cost efficient. I think they killed like 2 units, so not ideal. Not ideal. And there is a third base coming for our Jimmy. Is Jimmy going to beat Jack? Is that going to happen? Are we going to see that in 2026? We got Jimmy beating Jack before GTA 6? I don't know, whatever memes people say now. Let's take a look at the map as well, because I'm interested in Macroglia overall. So it looks like this is the entrance into the third base. Kind of reminds me of Germination in a funny way. But this whole area over here is another big angle to fight and watch out for. I kind of get Pantheon vibes from this as well. Veek made a map called Pantheon a long time ago. Mimic running all the way back. Not very useful without an ally's attack to clone. There you go, you get to see it though. And indeed, the corpse is consumed. You get a portion of its resource costs is injected into your own bank. That's another thing that's supposed to be like a cost efficiency booster for the Askosi, since frontal attacks are pretty poor for them. Frontal fights are not exactly their forte. Unless you make a lot of tirades, then you can do whatever you want for now. Already a pretty quick saturation for Jimmy, and he's going to have his pick of the litter when it comes to Vespine. Adding a Fulcrum in the third base is an interesting choice. Adding some more production back here as well. Shaman's on the way. Maybe a little bit late here. Scepters are back in action. The Mimic is just frontlining. It will go down. No more healing and taking corpses and cloning attacks. There's a cooldown on it equivalent to the attack speed of the unit that got cloned. Unfortunately, though, jakulangski will not be able to do much here. He got maybe a little bit of an extra cash injection, but it wasn't much. And his gas is really quite starved right now. Still assembling the arch right in the moment. Adding the gauntlet behind his base. This is very scenic. I like that. Alexander says Jimmy needs to attack. Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, the Askosi are basically the weakest they're going to get right now. Pilgrim waiting to drop. He's carrying a heavy load, you know, but he's waiting to drop it off at a landlock he himself will make. Behold new land, as they say. Pretty big production tabs for both players, which is exciting. We'll see some Vicars online now that the Gauntlet is finished. I'd love to see some Intendants as well. Indeed, they are coming. The splash damage will help out versus the Cyclops. The Scepters doing what they can to get some extra resources in the books. Anseal struggling. Anseal is actually going to stay alive because the Scepters are busy attacking everything else, which is pretty funny. I love that the Anseal's over here instead of like helping the army. In a roundabout way, it may have actually kept it alive because the Cyclops shots... The Manor BRB. I know it's not actually Manor. Jimmy's just kind of oblivious like that. Where he's just like, well, I'm just going to play games when I could just randomly be interrupted all the time. But, you know, I beat your army and then I say BRB. Ministry for base number 4 coming up for Jimmy at 9 o'clock. Meanwhile, another landlock, this one just by the third base, and of course one going up at 3. It's pretty big. Vicars and Scepters, shots being cloned. Intendants are here as well. Oh, the Intendant cloning off of the Mimic is huge here for the bounce damage to try to control this crowd. Oh, look at that. He's pulling the Scepter away with the Vicars. I love it. It's not quite enough to break this army, and we do have a Blackjack plus Cyclops drop over here inside the third base, which is not really up to full snuff yet. Mimics weren't able to consume too many corpses in the moment. There you go, get a couple. But as of right now, it definitely feels like the Shamans are keeping things alive for sure. And they never attacked the Blackjacks or anything with the Pilgrims. Oh dear. Well, he's just going to load up his army and send him right into the main base where there's no defenses or anything. Reinforcements coming in. Jakulangski might be in a lot of trouble here. He's got more Intendants. He's got more units than that. Even sending a Vicar off at him. I don't know, man. He cleans up the drop pretty easily. He does end up breaking the army. Behind that, we got Matadors. I actually don't think Matadors are super useful versus the Askosi, but maybe we will be proven wrong in that assumption. Can resume construction over there. Ooh. Man, there's so many Shamans. Atlas on the way for Jimmy. He's got 5,000 minerals almost and 1,000 gas. Let's see if his Matador army can be leveraged properly here. Intendants are helping out where they can. The Vicar count is pretty low, though. Trying to break down the Matador armor is going to be a strugglesome movement. Finally, an object arrives again. Could have been a little bit more aptly deployed at some point, I think, but look at that. Just trying to cycle back with the Mimics, and eventually they will be taken care of. A couple proselytes going down. We barely ever see those units. Sad. And the Mimics falling away. Well, they can definitely force multiply versus the units here. We got the Vultures trying to come in, maybe spend down the mineral bank. I don't know if that was super advisable. It doesn't really end up doing much. There are some clerics in the field. The Trojan has never been cleaned up, by the way. Very funny. Where is it? Am I blind? I can't see it. Jimmy! No! No, Jimmy! Oh, you can't put your Atlas at your 4th base? What would Neblime say? I think he would just leave. I think he would leave the replay if he was casting this with me right now. Vickers providing a little bit of booming blast. Does some splash damage. The Shamans kind of heal through it, though. Mimics are trying to help out where they can. A lot of the heavy armor was all the way in the back, so... Again, Jack, not really harassing, not really doing much in the way of, like, a frontal fight. No drops, no air units, nothing like that. Certainly spending his resources more quickly than his opponent, but Jimmy's sending a bunch of mantles up. He's got his tier 2 coming online, and the Askosi tier 2 just isn't done yet, so what can Jack really do? Let's be real. This is looking rough, guys. 12 Phalanx. Sentinels coming up as well. He catches a few units in the middle. Jimmy's on a warpath. Jimmy's on the roll. I think he's about to finish this up and send me to dinner. Vickers trying to do what they can. The one Phalanx is just a telltale sign to come because there's way more than that on the way. Cataphract's coming. More mantles online soon. Jimmy's really slamming out the macro. This is despite not having enough resources or resource expenditure. The first multi-prong move from Jack so far might end up paying out some success. Sentinels are going to try to be repaired here, but it's not quite going to work out. Stealing away some of the resource costs to those Sentinels as well is Jack. He's got some more units in the middle. These Mimics are going to be fed to the Lions, it looks like. Down the Scepters will go, embedding into the ground before they inevitably fall. They steal a couple of Phalanx resources, though. And that's a wrap on that attack force. But look at that. That was way outsized impact. That's exactly what the Askosi are all about. Making a lot of pilgrims. Still has a worker lead, producing a lot more functions. Can he really do something to defeat his opponent? I mean, he isn't tapping into all the units at his disposal. Let's be real. No tirades, no ink blots. Though I think those are kind of... they're a little bit rare as far as attempting to make use. Look at this army. Ink blots are a bit more based for detection, you know. Cestus up here. Mantles have been discovered. Violating the tier 1 principle. First mantle does go down. Vickers are pretty good at dealing with defensive structures, or structures in general, that's for sure. Intendants as well really help stack up the pain. Single Mimic. Again, just trying to go where the army isn't, right? That's what Jack is all about right now, as he does have less resources at his disposal. Top left has been found by a pilgrim, of all things. Because you ask it. Oh, dear. Well, this army gets cleaned up, but it killed 2 mantles. It sowed some chaos and division, and now, look, Jack is moving across the map with some more stuff. Remember, the base count is actually even right now. And the Sentinels were not set up in time over here. So now, scrambling back, Jimmy's wondering how. I don't know quite what's confusing. No. Nerf Askosi. I mean, surely he doesn't lose. He's got Phalanxes. Their whole unit identity is deploying Phalanxes and artillery. Yeah, Jimmy, you might lose if you don't deploy your Phalanxes and kill the enemy. And keep them in one spot. He's busy typing instead of deploying his Phalanxes. Wow, look at that. He did it, and they all got annihilated. Now you leave some here, put some Sentinels down, and move across the map. The next army, indeed, is going to start moving towards 9 o'clock. I mean, it's kind of a predictable motion here. A bunch of pilgrims only now saturating. Actually, I guess that this whole time it wasn't really even. Jimmy still had more resources. Not harvesting from his reservoir yet. Sentinels are coming up just in time. There's more cataphracts as well. I'm not really sure. Why is his army moving down there in the bottom right? He should just go on the counteroffensive. Yeah, I don't think this army actually breaks through what Jimmy has. The Katas are pretty damn good here. But can Jimmy win? Can he win? He certainly should. Behold new land. Yeah, I think he's done enough. There's Cosmoscopes on the way, but they're not going to be done soon enough. I think we might be wrapping this one up, boys. 13 Matadors are being made behind it. Very funny. He doesn't even need to deploy all of these Phalanxes. He should. He should deploy them, but he doesn't need to. GG. Jakulangski will concede. It's cinematic. It's beautiful. It's Jimmy winning a game. Love you, Jimmy. GG. What a game.